And we are less than 10 seconds, coming up to 5 seconds away now from the start of the race. David Johnson is going to blast away. Here he goes on that BMW. Right down the centre of the road, as tidy as you like that start. Bruce Anstey on the PadgettMotorcycles.com Honda. Hops of the front wheel. James Hillier on the JG Speedfit Kawasaki, starting his 50th TT race. Now it's the leader in qualifying and the record holder for this race on the Tyco BMW, Ian Hutchinson. Quick start it looked like there, 39.2 miles per hour in the few metres there are from the start until that timing beam. No number 5, of course, so it is Michael Dunlop on the MD Racing Suzuki, now away, over again towards the scoreboards, cuts back towards the bottom of pit lane, then into the centre of the road and away towards Bray Hill. Connor Cummins away. Out to have a bit of fun was how he described it to Chris Kinley there, the Ramsey Rocket. No one at 8, no Guy Martin, so the next away will be, well, a nervous sounding Dean Harrison it was there with Chris Kinley. Silicone Engineering Kawasaki, nicely away, just settling himself in. You could see him just trying to get comfortable there as he left the start line. So that's Dean Harrison away. Here's Peter Hickman, 2 podiums. Can he add another today? Could he even get to the top step? Peter Hickman away on that Smith's Racing BMW. Now the Bathans SMT Racing BMW of Michael Rutter. A little bit of a misfire as it went away, it sounded like there. Gary Johnson on the ReactiveParts.com Suzuki. No one at 13, of course, Lee Johnston. Again, we wish you a speedy recovery. Next is, well, if you can get away with a pit stop without a penalty, it would help. Number 14 is Dan Neen. Had a good TT, though. He's looked impressive. So Dan Neen safely away. And now William Dunlop on the Temple Golf Club Yamaha. Lifted his backside there as he just tried to get the bike settled and away. No number 16 starter there, so 17 will be Steve Mercer, getting the revs fired there. Dapperbet Kawasaki there for Mercer, good to see him out there. Plenty of good wishes are coming his way. Martin Jessup on the Riders Motorcycles BMW next. Yep, smoothly away there was Jessup. Now we have Daniel Hegarty, Top Gun Racing Honda. And the final one of the seeded at top 20 will be Ivan Linton on the Dapperbet Kawasaki. Listen to him away. Just trailing his right leg a little bit there and then put it onto the pegs. And now Jamie Coward, and he was 8th quickest. At 127.4 was Jamie there on the Radcliffe's Racing BMW. He's followed by Dan Stewart on the Wilcock Consulting BMW. He was in a 10th position in the qualifying times, but we haven't had, of course, a great deal of practice. Here's Derek Shields now. Derek Shields on the Burrows Engineering Racing Suzuki. James Cowton is next away to get that tap on the shoulder underneath the arch. Away he goes, and Brian McCormack is next away. McCormack at 38.1 miles per hour in those first opening metres. And now we have the latest to get away, and that's Phil Crow. Let's go to Glenn Helen and Dave Christian.
Yes, thanks, Tim. Awaiting the arrival of the first man on the road here, Dave O'Johnson. And yes, hear machine noise now making its way up the valley from Glenmore. Where there's a new spectator area open down there, actually well worth a look. But here is the first man on the road, and it is Dave O'Johnson. Safely through here on his opening lap. And their next man interview. Little flick to the right, down the gearbox. Nice and steady from Bruce Anstey. but he's being caught. The next man on the road, James Hillier. It's not James Hillier, actually, it's Ian Hutchinson. Ian Hutchinson really catching Bruce Anstey on the road. And Hutchie has a 10-second advantage over Davo Johnson. We're hearing that James Hillier has retired at Ballacrane. Rider perfectly okay, but that's bad news for James. But the next man on the road is Michael Dunlop. Just drops in behind Hutchie, so Hutchinson Dunlop at the top end of the leaderboard. But I think probably Dean Harrison, Peter Hickman, Michael Rutter, even Gaz Johnson are all going to feature yet, so it's only early days. Next man is the left-hander, that's the big man. Connor Cummins, safely through here on his opening lap. And it looks like he is being just caught on the road, I think, there by Dean Harrison. Indeed, Dean Harrison goes into second place, tucks in just behind Hutchie. As Peter Hickman comes through, and Hickman's quicker than Harrison, only just, but he's quicker. And there's Michael Rutter now, and Rutter leads. Rutter takes the lead. He's the quickest man here on the opening sector, and he's got a 1 second advantage now over Ian Hutchison. I think we'll just wait for Gaz Johnson, Dan Neen and William Dunlop before we confirm our leaderboard, but the quickest man here so far is Michael Rutter. That's 12 through. Gary Johnson doesn't feature at the top end of our leaderboard. It is still Michael Rutter with the quickest opening sector in this RL 360 Superstock race. That is Dan Neen. Dan Neen into third place at the moment. Fourth place. I say Peter Hickman just in ahead of him. And it is Rutter leading Ian Hutchinson by a second. There's William Dunlop through now. Dunlop into seventh place on our leaderboard. We're just going to have a little bit of a reshuffle there because we don't think Gaz Johnson has showed up on the timing screen. And we'll have a look at our unofficial timing. We have him in eighth place, so he's not featuring at the top end of the leaderboard, which means I can confirm some times for you now. In the lead at the moment, number 11, Michael Rutter leads number 4, Ian Hutchinson, by 1 second at Glen Helen on lap 1. And we'll take 17 through and 18. That's Steve Mercer and Martin Jessup, both safely through here, but not again featuring at the top end of that leaderboard. In third place then, it's number 10, Peter Hickman, third of a second back on second place man. 19 safely through, Dan Hegarty. So it is Peter Hickman making up the top three. Rutter leads Hutchinson with Hickman in third. 20 through now, Ivan Linton, but he's being caught. Linton being caught by Jamie Coward, who goes into eighth place. So Jamie Coward, great start from him after that great qualifying run as well. In fourth place, number 14 is Dan Neen. He's 1 second back on third place Hickman. In fifth place, number 9, Dean Harrison, who is just a fifth of a second back on Neen. In sixth place, Michael Dunlop, who is 1 second back on Dean Harrison. Derek Shields through here now as well, as was Dan Stewart, both safely through on their opening lap. And that bike just through there was number 25, James Cowton. Cowton just now hanging outside the top 10. Early days yet though, and there's a lot of coverage to go. Brian McCormick safely through on his opening lap, that's number 43. Just inside the top 20 for Brian on this opening sector. But there's no doubt about it, the quickest man on the day was Michael Rutter. That's 36 through, Phil Crow. And just a quick reminder of that top 5. Number 11, Rutter leads number 4, Hutchinson, by 1 second. In third place, it's number 10, Peter Hickman, a third of a second down on Hutchie. In fourth, number 14, Dan Neen, he's a second down on Hickman. And in fifth place, number 9, Dean Harrison, who is a fifth of a second down on Dan Neen. Back to you at the grandstand.
Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods.
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Very tight indeed at Ballath Bridge, but it's Ian Hutchinson who's taken the lead by 0.2 ahead of number 11 Michael Rutter, who is 0.2 ahead of number 10 Peter Hickman, and just 2 seconds back in fourth, number 14 Dan Neen, 29 going well Jamie Coward, also 25 James Cowton is in 15th position at Glen Helen, and Stefano Benetti in 17th, number 32, 30 Sam West is 18th at Sulby. Quickest through there, Ian Hutchinson 189.6 miles per hour, Peter Hickman 189. Let's go to Ramsey Hairpin, Roy Moore.
That noise on Lozère Road, you can hear it. I think the wind is coming in off Ramsey Bay, and certainly that would indicate it would be northeast type of wind, so it will be a tailwind over the mountain, but only half a second in it, or 0.2 of a second at Ballath Bridge. What will it be here at Ramsey? They will have been negotiating Parliament Square up through then the bumpy Cruikshanks corner. Certainly the road's clear here. It's been cleared of about enough twigs to make about 10 rooks' nests by the marshals, but certainly the first machine will be sweeping into view very, very shortly indeed. Disappointment there for James Hillier out, but here is the first machine in Ramsey, and it is number 1 David Johnson on the 1000 BMW. Bit of a misgear there, just stepped out a little bit, but number 4 Ian Hutchinson is here now, so he's made up less than 10 seconds on him, but the official race leader from Ballath Bridge was Ian Hutchinson by 0.2, so we've got quite a bit of a wait for 10 and 11, who were second and third, 11 Michael Rutter and 10 Peter Hickman, and then Dan Neen was only 2 seconds down on them at Ballath. Here's number 2, it's Bruce Anstey, treating it very cautiously indeed, and certainly not just having a quick look over his shoulder. Very, very cautious, because Michael Dunlop has made up quite a lot of time on him. So Michael Dunlop takes over second place here, but that's not the correct position, because we are waiting for the arrival of 10 and 11. Michael Dunlop 9 seconds down on Ian Hutchinson there, and David Johnson in an official third place here, but remember it's those two others that we're looking for. Dean Harrison should be the next interview, and it certainly is. He's got Connor Cummins behind him though, 9 and 7, so he's made that up. Very nervous at the start, but here is the first of the men we want to look at. It's Peter Hickman, and Peter Hickman holding on to third, 1.5 seconds down on what we expect to be the next arrival, that of Michael Rutter, and he is here. He's 1.3 seconds down on Ian Hutchinson. The race lead being held at Ramsey on lap number 1 of the RL360 Quantum Superstock race. It's Ian Hutchinson by 1.3 seconds from in second, number 11 Michael Rutter. Third, number 10 Peter Hickman, 1.5 seconds down on Rutter. Fourth for number 9 Dean Harrison, he's 5.5 seconds down on Peter Hickman. But I think the way of those that have gone through, Dean Harrison holding on to that 5th place, 5 seconds down, because Dan Neen is here now, 12 and 14, back end squiddle, just gets a little bit locked up on there, so 12 and 14, so Dan Neen up to 4th place in the order, but he's only a 0.3 of a second down on Peter Hickman, so look out for the progress of Manxman Dan Neen. 4th place here at Ramsey, 0.3 down on Peter Hickman, so that means there's only about 3 seconds plus covering the top 4 here at Ramsey. 5th for number 9 Dean Harrison, 5 seconds down on Dan Neen. 6th number 6 Michael Dunlop, 1.5 seconds down on Dean Harrison. 7th number 15 William Dunlop, that's him you can hear going away now, so he slots up into the leaderboard. I don't think he's been mentioned so far. 7th place for William at Ramsey, but 9.8 seconds down on Michael, his brother. And then at 8th place, number 1, David Johnson. He's 3 seconds down on William Dunlop. 9th for number 7, Connor Cummins. 5.5 seconds down on David Johnson. Then completing our top 10 here at Ramsey, it is number 2, Bruce Anstey, who is 1 second down. But Steve Mercer and Martin Jessup will make a difference there, I would think. He said they are here circulating together, and he just allows them to go through. So Martin Jessup up the inside there off Steve Mercer. Nice gentlemanly move there to allow him to go through, and 19 is the next here to go through, and 19 is Daniel Hegarty. Where do they slot into it? Well, we were looking out for also Jamie Coward, number 20. He can't be too far away from here, holding on to that good position. I think he was in the top 10, and Jamie Coward is here at Ramsey now. certainly down through the box and tight to the inside and away. And how does that sort things out? It doesn't affect anything down to the top 7. 7th is William Dunlop, 8th is David Johnson, 9th now for Jamie Coward, 4 seconds down on David Johnson, 10th for number 7 Connor Cummins, just 1 second down on Jamie Coward. We have in 11th place number 21 Dan Stewart, just 1 second down on Connor Cummins. 12th for number 19 Dan Hegarty, he's only 1.5 seconds down on Dan Stewart. 13th for number 18 Martin Jessup, 0.1 of a second down on Dan Hegarty. 14th 25, that should be James Cowton going through. James Cowton 14th place for him, and through the bungalow it's Ian Hutchinson still holding on to that advantage, but up at the bungalow we haven't had yet through Michael Rutter or Peter Hickman. So Ian Hutchinson through the bungalow, Michael Dunlop through the bungalow, Peter Hickman is the second rider through, so we'll just about get, I think it's Peter Hickman holding on to that second place as they go through the bungalow. 4 seconds down on Ian Hutchinson, but Michael Rutter is up there now, 3.5 seconds down on Hutchinson, the race leader at the bungalow. Peter Hickman in third, but only half a second down on Rutter. Back to the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
BMW's all the way it is at the top at the bungalow, and Cronknamona now for our race leader, number 4 Ian Hutchinson, and also number 1 David Johnson. The lights on there on the scoreboard across from us, and I can tell you at the bungalow Ian Hutchinson has a 3.7 second advantage over number 11 Michael Rutter. A right scrap going on though for second, third and fourth, because 0.7 back in third is number 10 Peter Hickman, and just half a second back on Hickman is number 14 Dan Neen. So those all BMWs. Dean Harrison 5th up there at the bungalow as number 6, the light on at Cronknamona for Michael Dunlop. But Ian Hutchinson through Governors, and he will be coming into our view very shortly. And we'll just get the right page up here. Let's get a leaderboard up there, please. And Ian Hutchinson, here he is. Cross the line he goes here at the grandstand, and wow, 131.109 miles per hour for Hutchinson. There's David Johnson across the line, and David Johnson 126.413. He was, of course, at number 1 the first bike away, testing the conditions, and of course a lot's been made of the lack of rubber down and the amount of water, the amount of leafage, the amount of greenery, the slipperiness that there's been. We've had a fleet of sweepers out during the course of this morning to clean up as much of the debris as possible. As into view comes Michael Dunlop, cross the line and away down towards Bray Hill. Michael Dunlop then 129.057 miles per hour. And looking at Cronknamona, I can tell you that Hickman has moved ahead of Rutter. Hickman, he's 4 seconds down though on Hutchinson. As 3 bikes, it'll be Anstey, Hickman and Dean Harrison about to come past us here at the grandstand. Oh, one coming in though. There's Hickman across the line. There's Harrison. But coming in, I think, it's Bruce Anstey. Let's go down to Chris Kinley.
Yeah, Bruce has just come in. The number 2 bike, he's just brought it right into the pit, so we're not sure if this is a scheduled one or not. Nah, he's straight off the bike, is Bruce, unfortunately. Not happy with conditions out there, unfortunately. Maybe grab a word with him, see if we can find out. Bruce, quickly, problems? What's up?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll let him go. He does not look happy at all. And Connor's in as well. So the other Paget bike is in number 7 too. So number 2 and 7 both into the pits. The disaster for the Paget's team. It just doesn't sound right. Back to you, Tim.
Indeed. Well, thank you, Chris. And a very, very unhappy Bruce Anstey makes his way up the return lane, and Connor Cummins starts looking a bit ruefully down at his number 7 bike as well. So let's look at the gaps then here. Hickman as in second, yep. Anstey, of course, retired last year at the end of lap 1 in the pits, so a repeat, and I think I've heard the klaxon going again. So who's this now coming in? I think this is William Dunlop, is it? Yes, it is. No, it's Gary Johnson on the Suzuki. So, he was a late addition, but let's go through the times. Ian Hutchinson leads here at the grandstand at the end of lap 1, 4.5 seconds as William Dunlop now goes past. Second is Peter Hickman. He is just 0.017 of a second, though, ahead of Michael Rutter, number 11. Fourth is number 14, Dan Neen. He's 1.5 seconds down on Rutter. Fifth, number 9, Dean Harrison, 10.1 seconds down on Neen. Sixth is number 6, Michael Dunlop on that new Suzuki. 0.2 he is down on Harrison. Seventh, we've just seen him across the line, is number 15, William Dunlop. He is 15.3 seconds down on Michael Dunlop. Got to factor in, though, people like Jamie Coward, who was in the top 10 up at Cronknamona, and we've also got 21 Dan Stewart in the top 10 at Cronknamona, so we'll see them across the line. And 2 bikes across there, and let's see where they factor in now. 17, Steve Mercer showing in 12th. Dan Hegarty's into the top 10 along with Martin Jessup. But as I say, the higher numbers as we go down the start order, that is Jamie Coward, and he is in 9th position. So David Johnson is confirmed then in 8th, number 1. He's 6 seconds down on William Dunlop, but Jamie Coward is 3.8 down on David Johnson in 9th. 10th is now number 21, Dan Stewart, 5.2 seconds down on Jamie Coward. 11th, number 19, Dan Hegarty, 1.8 down on Stewart. 12th is number 12, Gary Johnson, but he's of course come in and retired. And Martin Jessup is in there, so he's around 4.5 seconds down on Hegarty. Hutchie leads. Let's go to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
And you've just got here bang on time as Ian Hutchinson fires it into the left-hander here at the entrance to the old Glen Helen Hotel car park. He's on the power and makes his climb away from here perfectly safely. Looking in absolutely impeccable form as well. Perfect line. Hutchie drifted wide on his exit. Seen him with a tighter line as Dave Johnson comes through. He's had a little bit of a tighter line at places earlier this week, but not today. It's using the full width of the road on the exit here. We have to be a little bit careful as you drift wide. The camber just drags you in towards the air fence on the exit of the corner. And no worries for Hutchie today. Here's Michael Dunlop. And he just hesitates slightly with the power on, but make sure she's sitting a little bit more upright before he feeds too much in. But again, perfectly safely through. Hutchinson at the moment the quickest man to here, but it'll be interesting to see how that gap pans out. And what we will find with those guys dropping out from the middle of the top order is that there's going to be some higher numbers with good podium places. There's Peter Hickman and Dean Harrison. Hickman second place. The lead was 4.5 seconds at the grandstand. Is 4.1 here, so Hickman just taken 0.4 of a second. That's Michael Rutter, just drops in behind Peter Hickman at 2 seconds now. The gap, it was 1/10 of a second at the grandstand, but 2 seconds now. Peter Hickman's advantage over third place Michael Rutter. So number 4, Ian Hutchinson leads number 10, Peter Hickman, by 4 seconds at Glen Helen on lap 2. In third place, number 11, Michael Rutter, who's 2 seconds back on Hickman. At the moment, it's Dean Harrison in 4th, but Dan Neen, when he gets here, and there he is now. Dan Neen may just drop in ahead. He does. Dan Neen into 4th place. Cracking ride from Dan. He is just 1.5 seconds down on 3rd place Michael Rutter. Dean Harrison now in behind Dan Neen. 5th place for Dean Harrison. 8 seconds the difference between 4th place Dan Neen and 5th place Dean Harrison. It was 10 at the grandstand, so it's coming down a little bit. Dean Harrison just starting to reel him in. In 6th place, Michael Dunlop. He is 2 seconds down on Dean Harrison. And that gap was 1/5 of a second at the grandstand. So Dean Harrison taking 1.5 seconds on there or thereabouts out of Michael Dunlop on the Glen Helen sector. That's 15, William Dunlop through. He drops into currently 7th place. He's 20 seconds down on brother Michael, and Davo Johnson in 8th place, 9 seconds down on William Dunlop. Interest in the battle, and as I said, with Connor Cummins and Bruce Anstey dropping out, those guys at the fringes of the top 10 just find themselves moving into the action. Horst Zeiger was just outside the top 10 at the grandstand, as was Sean Anderson, who's having a great ride on number 24. Dan Stewart, Dan Hegarty and James Cowton all there and thereabouts, just outside the top 10, and could well benefit. We could see some of those guys muscling into a top 10 result at the later stages of the race. And of course we've got pit lane to come at the end of this lap, and as we've seen from the Superbike race on Saturday, pit lane can be a very, very decisive place. Another machine now comes out of Glen Helen 2 into the left-hander. Very steady approach from Martin Jessup, but he's got Steve Mercer and Dan Hegarty right behind him on the road, and those three travelling in quite close proximity. 20 comes through Ivan Linton at the back of that group. 29, Jamie Coward. Misread the number plate on that one, Jamie Coward, just inside the top 10 for Jamie Coward. Number 29 started 21st place, so he's made up 10 or so places from the start. But that's Ivan Linton. And he's followed on the road by 21, which is Dan Stewart. Dan Stewart now just fringing on the top 10. Sean Anderson, number 24, when he gets here, might just make a difference to that. He was holding 10th place at the grandstand, with Horst Zeiger as well, just outside the top 10 and 11th place. Good laps on our first pass through here. Andy Dudgeon, local guy, on 57. He was in 20th place at Glen Helen on lap 1, so keep your eye out for him. That indeed is Jamie Coward, number 29, and Jamie Coward holds 9th position now. So outside of the top 5, in 6th we've got Michael Dunlop, 7th William Dunlop, 43 through, that's Brian McCormick. In 8th place, number 1, Dave Johnson. In 9th place, number 29, Jamie Coward. And in 10th place, number 21 at the moment, Dan Stewart. But Sean Anderson may well just drop into that top 10 as and when machine number 24 gets here. But the tail at the top end of the race at Glen Helen on lap 2, Ian Hutchinson leads Peter Hickman by 4 seconds. In 3rd place, number 11, Michael Rutter, who's 2 back on Hickman. In 4th, number 14, Dan Neen, who's just a second down on Rutter. And in 5th place, number 9, Dean Harrison, who is 8 seconds back on Dan Neen. Back to you at the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Mark Goodings, number 76, a retirement at Quarry Bends at Balap Bridge. Ian Hutchinson has stretched that lead to 6.6 seconds over number 10, Peter Hickman. Up into 3rd, though, is number 14, Dan Neen, 2.7 down on Hickman, but he's got ahead of number 11, Michael Rutter. Rutter 1.5 seconds back on Neen, but straight to Ramsey Hairpin. Roy Moore.
Should be number 4, Ian Hutchinson now, leading in the race and leading on the road. Much drier conditions here at Ramsey, but the back end is still just a bit sideways as he comes in, but much quicker than he was on the first lap as Ian Hutchinson, and he's not hanging about. It's on the limiter going away to the waterworks, so it must be dry up on that stretch from Ramsey Hairpin up to the waterworks, which is always the most concern here. So, Balaf Bridge had at 6.6 seconds, 6.5 seconds the lead, but the progress of Dan Neen is the one we're going to be looking out for here at Ramsey, because it's David Johnson, I think, the next in, and it surely is number 1. And again, the same line and approach, just rolls it off and round, gets the knee back and tucked in, and he too just taking it on the limiter all the way up to the waterworks. And then they'll burst through the exit there of Tower Bends and up onto the mountain stretch, with the wind playing a bit of havoc as Michael Dunlop is here now, number 6. He slots into second place here, but that was in fact down to 6th place, I think, as they went through Ballaugh Bridge. So back at the pits, it will be my nephew, Manxman Brian Moore, who'll be putting the fuel in for Dan Neen, but I'm sure that he'll be telling the instruction pit lane limiter on this occasion. Here's number 10, that is Peter Hickman, so he's through, and he's got ahead now of number 9, Dean Harrison, who just doesn't appear to, well, just appears not to be trying too hard. He certainly picked out the 10 seconds there. Peter Hickman now, 7 seconds. There's a further second being pulled out as Michael Rutter is here. What's that difference there? It's 7 seconds that Hutchinson leads. Number 4 here. Number 10, Peter Hickman at Ramsey on lap number 2, 7.827. So virtually 8 seconds the difference. In third place, number 11, Michael Rutter, 6 seconds down on Peter Hickman. Fourth then for, well, with this we've got to change it now because I think Dan Neen will be the next here. Number 14, if things are going to plan, and it certainly is. Very quick, changes his right knee to his left knee to stick it out to go round. Very, very neat indeed, and he'll be fully aware of what's happening, and he too on the limiter going away, still holding on to third place, and it's still that 2 seconds difference between him and in second place number 10 Peter Hickman, but he's increased it over his advantage over in fourth place Michael Rutter. Out now to a massive 3 seconds. 3.304 is the exact time. So third place for Dan Neen, fourth for number 11 Michael Rutter, 3 seconds down on Neen. In fifth, number 9 Dean Harrison, 6.5 seconds down though on Michael Rutter. Sixth for number 6 Michael Dunlop, 5.8 seconds down on Dean Harrison, and seventh for number 1 David Johnson, but that could change with the arrival here off number 15 William Dunlop, and bang on cue he's here at Ramsey, neat as ever. Same line, just goes a little bit wider than the rest, but that lines him up to go out through a tight little wall on the right hand side, which, like the area in front of us, has seen every bit of TT history since 1911. So it's Michael Dunlop who is just holding on to his brother, but there is a bit of a difference there. 26 seconds the difference between in sixth place number 6 Michael Dunlop, 26 seconds down. In seventh place is number 15 William Dunlop on his brother. That puts Davy Johnson down into 8th place, and certainly the top there, Michael Rutter, Dean Harrison, 6 seconds, we've got that one. Michael Dunlop just 5 seconds down on Dean Harrison, so that could all change at the pits as they now will be making the mountain climb. We'll just get them through the bungalow, hopefully. That is the situation up there on the highest, or will be heading for the highest point on the circuit. And we too did notice Sean Anderson going well. Well, that is probably a stock bike, and he did it so well the other day there, going in amongst the super bikes, but certainly a stock machine for him, and no surprise to see him through. Hutchinson is through the bungalow as we take 19 and 18 through this, as they were before. Martin Jessup and Dan Hegarty, and there's number 29 Jamie Coward, and number 11 Ivan Lindner. No, that's Michael 11. 17 it was, my apologies, Steve Mercer, because we were just looking at that to see. Dunlop is through Michael Dunlop through the bungalow, David Johnson through the bungalow, heading for pit stops. They were discussing last night the possibility of a tyre change, but such a complicated business, and you've got to be bang on as a mechanic to do that in this Superstock. 21 is through as well. 21 goes through the hairpin. That's Dan Stewart holding on to 11th. In fact, Jamie Coward, we've just got him now into 9th place, 3 seconds down on David Johnson. I can tell you as they go through the bungalow, and in 10th place it's Dan Hegarty, 11th 21 Dan Stewart, 12th number 25 James Cowton, 13th number 18 Martin Jessup, and 14th number 20 Ivan Linton, with 15th number 17 Steve Mercer. Through the bungalow they go. It's Ian Hutchinson by 9 seconds now over Peter Hickman. Michael Rutter 9 seconds down on him. Dan Neen has just gone through. He's only 3 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but increased his lead over Michael Rutter to a further 3 seconds. It's now 6 seconds. Back to the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Light is on for number 4 Ian Hutchinson at Cronknamona, and also for number 1 David Johnson at the Bungalow. 9.3 the advantage. Hutchinson, number 4, has over number 10 Peter Hickman. Dan Neen 3.1 down on Hickman, and Michael Dunlop now signalled as well at Cronknamona. But the klaxon is sounding. Here's our race leader. Let's go down to Chris Kinley. Here's Hutchie.
Yeah, first man on the road. Here's Tim. What's that lap time for us?
130.673 miles per hour.
Yeah, just backed off just a little bit on that lap. Has Hutchie there now, but he's in for the pit stop. Obviously, yeah, they are doing a rear wheel. Actually, well, that's kind of weird that they're doing that. Let's have a little look up here. This is where we used to stand years ago, and all the top teams used to be here. So there is a tyre change being done here now. Tim O'Hanlon down there with the pit lane times. From as soon as he comes in the top, it activates a little timing screen that counts down. They're just getting the rear spindle in there now. The boys working hard. The fuel's in already. Just the screen getting clean. He's slightly off the bike there now. He's just making some suspension adjustments to the front. He's just wound on a couple of clicks on the front there, on the top there. So yeah, so he's done a couple of suspension adjustments. Here's number 1, David Johnson on another BMW. Hutchie's rear tyre done, in and out and gone. So away he goes. David Johnson, who is next? Let's have a little look who we're waiting for. It's number 6. It's Michael Dunlop. He's right down the far end as Michael. Not in the mix in this one now, but Hutchie with a rear tyre change and also a suspension change. Back out into the sunlight we go, walking back down pit lane. We have number 6, we have number 1, and now we have the next rider in, and there is number 10. That's Hickman. Let's find out where Hickman is. What was his lap, Tim?
I can tell you that Hickman 130.396 and 6.7 he is down on Hutchinson.
6.7, yeah, that's not bad. It's kind of jumped up. Here's Harrison, very nervous before the start of this on the number 9 bike for Dean Harrison. Let's have a little look at Cronknamona. Over Dean, round about 4th or 5th for Dean. Here's Rutter though, got to keep an eye on Rutter. Made a great start to the race. Oh, Davy Johnson just missed the gear there, or didn't have it in gear, and he went to go. That happened so many times in the pits, and Davy Johnson is away. So Hutchinson in and out. Dean Harrison's in here at the moment. Michael Dunlop's just leaving at the bottom, and Rutter's in as well. But it's Dan Neen we've got to keep a little eye on, and right opposite is pit now, Mark. If you just want to hang on here, because Dan Neen is the man that we are waiting for through Cronknamona in 3rd, 4 seconds back of Hickman. Dan Neen stops now. Let's hopefully he's going to keep a little eye on this limiter as number 10 Hickman goes away. And as Dan Neen came in, he was 4.6. Yeah, let's work that out. It's going to come up on my screen. Hutchinson leads by 6.7. Rutter 10.9, about 11 back in 3rd. But we're just waiting for Dan Neen to update on the screen. Dean Harrison in, just checks the fuel cap. He's having a look down at that. No, he seems happy enough. Yeah, he is. Dan Neen confirmed in 3rd as he went across the line. Yep, confirmed in that 3rd place. We'll get Tim O'Hanlon with the times in a second. Just Dan Neen, just a rear tyre. Just a couple of problems, Tim, for Dan. Just hang on a sec. Yeah, they've got it in there now. The spindle is in. Tim, go ahead.
5.8 Dan Neen is behind Hickman, and he is 5 seconds ahead of Rutter.
That's a pretty good, comfortable margin there. But Hutchie was quite a slow pit stop there with the various instructions. That, of course, is into the pits. And Dan, anyway, Dan, get it in gear. You probably heard it clunk there as he went into gear there now. We'll get the difference in the times on those guys there. But a good pit stop there by Dan Neen's DTR team. And I tell you what, he was nice and gentle on there. Just waiting for Tim O'Hanlon if he's ready for me. Tim, are you ready there?
Hutchie's improved his lead by 8 seconds with the pit stops, because he took 52.7, where Hickman took a minute. Rutter took 1 minute and 6 seconds, and Dan Neen 1 minute and 1 second.
Wow, it did look a slow pit stop, but obviously the team worked hard to get that in and out, didn't he?
It did. Actually, the fastest pit stop was Michael Dunlop at 52.2 seconds.
Good man, well done. Tim Glover, back to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Good work down there, guys. So Ian Hutchinson came in, and a pretty quick pit stop as well, so it is an increased lead, and we'll just get that worked out up here. Peter Hickman 6.7 as they came into the pits. Hickman was behind Hutchinson. Hutchinson 130.673, Hickman 130.396, Dan Neen number 14 129.855, he's 5.8 down on Hickman, and Rutter a further 5 seconds back, 129.041 for number 11, but a BMW lockout it is at the top. Let's go through more retirements. Xavier Denis at Whitegates, number 78. Derek Shields is a retirement at Quarterbridge. Andrew Dudgeon has retired at Crosby Village, and Marco Pagani has retired in the pits. So coming in, Dean Harrison, number 9, was in 5th position. Dean Harrison 12.3 behind, though, Rutter. Michael Dunlop 1.4 down on Harrison, and he is number 6, of course. 7th place, number 15, William Dunlop 32.2. So the top 6 really have stretched away. 29, Jamie Coward on the Radcliffe's Racing BMW slots into 9th on the leaderboard as they come in here at the grandstand. David Johnson in between him and William Dunlop. 7th William Dunlop, 8th David Johnson, 9th is Jamie Coward, 10th going well is number 19 Dan Hegarty, 21 Dan Stewart in 11th. Let's go to Glen Helen, Dave Christian.
And here's the first man on the road, bang on cue, Tim. Hudgy. Yeah, a little bit of a tighter line that time, hugging the centre line on his way out, rather than drifting out wide to the right hand side where those air fences are. And Tim O'Hanlon's analysis there of those pit stops gives you an idea of the amount of time that can be won or lost in pit lane, and particularly when there's 10 seconds, well 15 seconds split in the top 4 in this race, and if losing 5 or 6 seconds in pits can make all the difference. And on the way into pit lane, Peter Hickman with 7 seconds, near enough gap to leader Ian Hutchinson, and it's a little bit of time to make that one up. We await the next man on the road. It should be Davo Johnson, but he's gone a little bit behind, so we've got a slight gap, but I can hear engine noise now. 2 together out of Glen Helen 2. Flick to the right, down a gear. That's Davo Johnson and Michael Dunlop in line astern. Johnson just ahead on the road, but on corrected time, of course, it is Michael Dunlop, who was 6th place at the grandstand, and we need Dean Harrison, Michael Rutter, Dan Neen and Peter Hickman before we can complete that top end of the leaderboard. That was Peter Hickman, and he's safely through here on his 2nd lap, and the gap to Ian Hutchinson is now 13 seconds. 13 seconds, so Hutchinson leads over over Peter Hickman as Dean Harrison comes through. Get those in the right order. It is Ian Hutchinson leads on lap 3 at Glen Helen with a lead, an advantage of 13.6 seconds. 13 seconds as Michael Rutter comes through. Rutter slots in behind Hickman, but we still got Dan Neen to come, number 14 Dan Neen, and he's had some trials and tribulations in pit lane this week, but he looks to have managed to complete that one safely without picking up a time penalty. Here's a fast moving machine now. Down the box into the left-hander, that is Dan Neen, and he does hold 3rd place. So Hutchinson leads Hickman by 13 seconds. That's number 4 leads number 10 by 13 seconds. In 3rd place, it's number 14, Dan Neen, who is 10 seconds back on Hickman. And in 4th place, number 11, Michael Rutter, who is 10 seconds back on Dan Neen. In 5th place we have at the moment Michael Dunlop. I'm just having a little look here. Michael Dunlop's pulled off. Yeah, that quick pit stop has given him a place. Dunlop with 6th going into pit lane. He's come out in 5th place, just got ahead of Dean Harrison with that quick pit stop. So Michael Dunlop, number 6, holds 5th place. He is a 1/5 of a second down on Michael Rutter. In 6th place, number 9, Dean Harrison, who is now 4 seconds down on Dunlop. Davo Johnson at the moment in 7th, but we had William Dunlop and a few others ahead of Davo. There's William Dunlop now. William Dunlop safely through here on his 3rd lap. He does indeed go ahead of Davo Johnson. 7th place for William Dunlop, 32 seconds behind 6th place Dean Harrison. And that gap between 7th and 6th was 32.7 seconds here. It was 32.2 seconds going into the grandstand, so no advantages there for William Dunlop. Worthy of note, a couple of guys going really well just outside the top 20. Rob Hodgson on number 77 was 28th place at Glen Helen on lap 2. Obviously he's got a pit stop to come, but that's a great run from Rob early on. Daley Matheson, number 56, was holding 25th position here on the second lap. Miko Sweeney, 33. Miko Sweeney inside the top 20, holding 18th place. A great ride from Sam West, number 30. He was in 14th place at Glen Helen on lap 2. But by the time they got through to Ramsey, he'd pulled one back as well. He was up to 13th. So a good ride from Sam West. And another guy going well down at the bottom end of the order is Michael Russell on number 55. He was up in the mid-20s as well. Two more through here now. It's 19 and 18 circulating together on the road. Dan Hegarty and Martin Jessup. Hegarty at the moment 9th place, Martin Jessup 10th, but we'll take one more through before we have to go back to the grandstand. That is 29, Jamie Coward, 9th place for Jamie Coward. We'll take this one here now, he's come through as well. Steve Mercer, number 17, Steve Mercer just outside the top 10 in 12th place. But the story at the top end of the leaderboard on lap 3 at Glen Helen is Ian Hutchinson leads Peter Hickman by 13 seconds. In 3rd place, number 14, Dan Neen, who's 10 back on Hickman. In 4th, number 11, Michael Rutter, 10 back on Neen. And in 5th place, number 6, Michael Dunlop, just a 1/5 of a second down on Rutter. Back to you at the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Ian Hutchinson still leads at Ballaugh Bridge, but Michael Dunlop has gone up to 4th ahead of Michael Rutter. He leapfrogged Dean Harrison by the time as well. They'd got to Glen Helen, came into the pit stop in 6th, but he did the quickest stop, 52.2, Hutchie 52.7, Hickman a minute 0.47, and Harrison a minute 0.53, Neen a minute and 1 second. That's why it's changed around. Hutchinson leads. Matthew Rees, a retirement at Sulbury Bridge. Let's go to Ramsey.
Yes, and the last man you'd want if you've got a 10-second advantage over him is between the battle between Dan Neen and Michael Dunlop. We did notice his progress, but here's the race leader and leader on the road at Ramsey, lap number 3, Ian Hutchinson. Yeah, just went up a little bit quicker there, but certainly on the limiter once he got it up into 2nd, 3rd, 4th, probably just about hit 5th, and then drop it back down for the first of the sequence of the Waterworks bends, then up through and Tower bends, that sweeping left-hander, and then out into the Brilliant Sunshine, up into the Gooseneck. But Ian Hutchinson safely through Ramsey hairpin on lap number 3, but certainly going back to Ballaugh Bridge, it was him by an increasing lead of 13 seconds over Peter Hickman. Dan Neen 12 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but Michael Dunlop only 10.5 seconds down on Dan Neen. Michael Rutter, though, wasn't totally out of it. He was in 5th place there. Number 11, Michael Rutter, just 0.8 of a second down on Michael Dunlop. Then in 6th place, number 9, Dean Harrison, 2 seconds only down on Michael Rutter. So that could all change as they come to Ramsey. We're expecting Michael Dunlop to be next on the road, and bang on cue he does. Very, very steady in, not shaking its head. The back, he has a quick look over his left shoulder to see David Johnson, and that's who he will see at number 1 going through. So he slots up into 4th place there, but more officially it would be like kind of 8th place at Ramsey, and there is down tight Hickman. So Peter Hickman through, 12 seconds. He's pulled a second back on the run from Ballaugh Bridge. Well, a fraction of a second really. It was 13 virtually 13 seconds dead at Black Bridge, and it's now 12.918. There's number 9, Dean Harrison, so he's safely through, but we're awaiting the arrival of number 14, Dan Neen, to see whether Michael Dunlop has pulled anything back on the run here. Certainly experience-wise, they're around about the same, I would think. Very, very fast approach. This is number 11, Michael Rutter, so he must be fully aware of it. He holds on to that third place at the moment, 5 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but at the moment he's got it back ahead of Michael Dunlop now, but only by half a second. So Michael Rutter very, very quick indeed. Is this Dan Neen? It certainly is. He's made Ramsey lap number 3. Smooth as anything. Brother going well too. Ryan Neen, we've noticed him down in the top 25, I think, through Ramsey. So it is number 4, Ian Hutchinson, by 12.918, 13 seconds his advantage over in second place. Number 10, Peter Hickman. Peter Hickman then is 14 and a half seconds ahead of in third place, number 14, Dan Neen. And Michael Rutter moves up into fourth place, number 11 seconds down on Dan Neen. In fifth place, number 6, Michael Dunlop, but he's only half a second down on Michael Rutter. In sixth place, number 9, Dean Harrison, and don't discount him either, because he is only 3 seconds down on Michael Dunlop. In seventh place of the riders through so far, it is David Johnson, 51 seconds down on Dean Harrison. But remember, we still have to get here Jamie Coward, Horst Seiger, Daniel Hegarty, Dan Stewart, Martin Jessup, James Cowton, Brian McCormick, Michael Sweeney, Ivan Linton and Steve Mercer and Philip Crowe, who were all in that order as they went over Ballaugh Bridge in the top 20. There's number 15, William Dunlop. Tighter approach for him this time, but certainly that sweeping line going out. And William Dunlop holding on to 7th place here at Ramsey, 42 seconds down on Dean Harrison, but 9 seconds only ahead of David Johnson. So David Johnson must be getting the swing of it as well. 9 seconds of difference here in the top 6. That'll be the top 8 now as they go through Ramsey. So going back to Ballaugh Bridge and the differences there, I think that was 37, 11. Yeah, just about holding station on the run from Ballaugh Bridge here to Ramsey hairpin. But slotting in there will be Jamie Coward. He was 9th at Ballaugh Bridge, 19 seconds down though on David Johnson, but only 4 seconds ahead of in 10th place number 22, Horst Seiger. So they've still got to arrive. They've still got to do the western part of the circuit, the run from Glen Helen up through the Cronkervoddy, and then down through all the twisty bits, Kirkmichael Village, the bumpy bits into Ramsey, and then here and I can tell you Ian Hutchinson is through the bungalow. We have no other machines into view here, such as the space on the road that they've got. Hickman is through the bungalow, Michael Dunlop is through the bungalow, and David Johnson is through the bungalow as well. I think we've just about got time now to fit this one. This could be Martin Jessup that's with us here now, number 19 it is. That is Dan Hegarty and Martin Jessup, number 18. 29, Jamie Coward is through as well. It's Hutchinson from Hickman at the bungalow, but Dan Neen, we won't have time to get him through, unfortunately. It's back to the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Light on at Cronknamona for number 4, Ian Hutchinson, and really stretching out. He's out on his own at the front there is Ian Hutchinson, such is the margin and advantage he now has. Going back to the bungalow, Peter Hickman in second, 13.4 down on Hutchinson. Third was number 14, Dan Neen, 15.3 down on Hickman, but he's 12.9 ahead of fourth place, number 11, Michael Rutter. Rutter, though, is just 1.4 seconds ahead of number 6, Michael Dunlop. But let's wait now to see Ian Hutchinson on that Tyco BMW Superstock bike come flashing past us here at the grandstand and out onto his final lap. And remember, incorporating the pit stop, 124.385 miles per hour, 18 minutes 11.996 seconds. So also the light now on at Cronknamona. It's been on for a little bit there for number 6, Michael Dunlop, but also now number 10, Peter Hickman, and number 1, David Johnson. The gap between Hutchinson and Hickman at Cronknamona, 13.270 seconds. So Michael Dunlop should be next on the road for us to see here at the grandstand, and I suspect it's Peter Hickman ahead of David Johnson, looking at the splits and the times here. Also number 9, Dean Harrison now at Cronknamona as well, as we wait for Michael Dunlop to make his way through Governors and come out from the dip there and onto Glencrutchy Road, and we'll see him come through the trees on that Suzuki as he too heads out on his final lap of the mountain course in this Superstock TT. Here he is. 122.764 miles per hour, of course, with the pit stop. There is Hickman and there is David Johnson. So the gap come down a little bit. 12.4 is the advantage that Ian Hutchinson will enjoy on his final lap of the mountain course in this RL360 Quantum Superstock TT race. Ian Hutchinson then 12.4 seconds ahead of number 10, Peter Hickman, 4 from 10. In third at the moment, it's number 6, Michael Dunlop. And that's Dean Harrison who's gone through. Dean Harrison at the moment is in 4th position. We've got to wait for Rutter. We've got to wait for Neen. Here is Rutter. So Rutter 3.5 seconds now ahead of Michael Dunlop. Still showing in third, but Dan Neen, number 14, is going to be next, I think, past the grandstand for us here as we look up Glencrutchy Road. Here he is, Dan Neen. Neen goes into third. Neen is 18.2 seconds, number 14, Dan Neen, behind number 10, Peter Hickman, who is 12.4 seconds down on number 4, the leader, Ian Hutchinson. In 4th place is number 11, Michael Rutter, who is 11.7 seconds down on Dan Neen in 3rd. 5th is Michael Dunlop, just 3.5 seconds down on Rutter. In 6th, it's number 9, Dean Harrison, who's just 4.1 down on Dunlop. And 7th is David Johnson, and he's 54.5 seconds away from Dean Harrison in 6th. But Ian Hutchinson has been gone through here quite some time. Pit lane speed limiter, the headmaster's been out with the cane once again. Frank Gallagher has been speeding 64.189 kilometres. It is, of course, a 60 zone. A penalty of 30 seconds to Frank Gallagher, and Dan Neen, for the first time in TT2017, has not incurred a ticket here in pit lane. Good news for him. We wait for William Dunlop, who's safely through Cronknamona. Here he is. And William Dunlop goes above David Johnson into 7th position. Number 15, he's 45.1 seconds, though, behind 6th place, number 9, Dean Harrison. But he's 9.4 seconds ahead of number 1, David Johnson. So the top 4 BMWs, then it's Suzuki of Michael Dunlop, Kawasaki of Dean Harrison, Yamaha of William Dunlop, and David Johnson, yet another BMW. 5 of the top 8 are Beamers. And Cronknamona lights on for number 19, 18 and 29. Going really, really well is Jamie Cower. But let's go to Glen Helen. Hutchie should be with you, Dave Christian.
Yeah, we're expecting him any moment now. Yeah, the machine does come out at Glen Helen too. Flick to the right, hit the left hand. A little bit of a shake of the front end. Heavy on the brakes there, but safely through. Touchy through on his final lap. There's a little bit of traffic as well up in front of him. 2 of the higher start numbers, Forrest Dunn and Frank Gallagher, are through in less than a minute ahead of Hutchie. So I think Frank Gallagher is about 30 seconds or so he's going to catch him in the very, very near future. And Forrest Dunn about 30 seconds ahead of that. So both of those guys are likely to be in Hutchie's way as he makes his way round on his final lap. But I think with 12-second the advantage at the grandstand. I think he's got enough time to sneak past them both, and of course Peter Hickman may have to encounter some traffic problems of his own as well, so it's not all doom and gloom by any stretch. Hutchie with a comfortable lead and should be able to dispense those two highest start numbers, Forrest Dunn and Frank Gallagher, 83 and 82 respectively. Should be able to get past them relatively straightforward, and of course they're not circulating together, so it is only a question of passing one bike at a time. Here's the next man on the road. It's Michael Dunlop. Safely through, as is Peter Hickman. And the gap now down. Peter Hickman's gap to leader Ian Hutchinson down to 11 seconds. Well, 11.8 as Davo Johnson comes through on his final pass. 12.4 the gap was at the grandstand. 11.8 it is here at Glen Helen on the final lap. So Hutchie's advantage just coming down bit by bit, but I'm sure when he gets aboard he'll be able to just take the race by the scruff of the neck again. Dean Harrison through. Dean Harrison just a fifth of a second now between him and Michael Dunlop. So Dean Harrison not too far away from Michael Dunlop on corrected time now. As Michael Rutter sweeps through here on his final lap. Rutter drops into third place at the moment, but of course we wait number 14 Dan Lean before he can do anything really to confirm what sort of lineup we've got. But that gap between Dunlop and Harrison was it's come down a bit as Dan Lean comes through here. Yes, on the power, safely up through the Glen Helen section, making his climb towards Sarah's Cottage. Dan Lean into third place. And the leaderboard is then Hutchinson leads number 4. Ian Hutchinson leads number 10, Peter Hickman, by 11.8 seconds. We'll call that 12. In third place, number 14, Dan Lean, who is 21 seconds now behind Peter Hickman. So the gap between Hickman and Lean is just widening a little bit. It was 18.2 at the grandstand, 21.2 here. So Hickman taking another 3 seconds out of Dan Lean, so it suggests he's charging a little bit. The gap between Lean and fourth place Rutter is constant. It was 11.7 at the grandstands, 11.5 here, so I don't think Dan Lean's slowing down at all. I think Peter Hickman's going a little bit quicker, and that will explain why he's closing that gap to Ian Hutchinson. But number 4, Hutchinson leads number 10, Hickman, by 11.8 seconds. In third place, number 14, Dan Lean, who's 21 seconds back on Hickman. In fourth place, number 11, Michael Rutter, who's 11 seconds down on Lean. In fifth place, number 6, Michael Dunlop, who's 4 seconds down on Rutter. Next machine into the left-hander. Big knee out from William Dunlop there. He's on the power and making his climb up towards Sarah's Cottage. Seventh place for William Dunlop. Sixth place is number 9, Dean Harrison, who is just 1/5 of a second down on Michael Dunlop. So Dino, that gap at the end of lap 3, it was 4 seconds, and down to 1/5 of a second here at Glen Helen on lap 4. So Dean Harrison just slowly reeling in Michael Dunlop there. In 7th place, number 15, William Dunlop, who is 55 seconds behind Dean Harrison. And in 8th place, number 1, Davo Johnson, who is 11 seconds behind William Dunlop. A little while before we're going to get to make up the rest of that, because the next man that we're looking for is number 29, Jamie Coward, who was holding 9th place at the grandstand. Horst Seiger, great ride from Horst. 10th place, machine number 22. And Horst just holding on to 10th place at the grandstand. He is 8 seconds down on 9th place, Jamie Coward. In 11th place, again at the grandstand, we had number 19, Daniel Hegarty, who was 3 seconds down on Seiger. Other guys worthy of note, Rob Hodson, we noted, Glen Helen lap 3, number 77, Rob Hodson, up to 24th place. Horst Seiger, we just mentioned, he started 31st and up to 10th place. Number 56, Daley Matheson, 23rd for Daley. There's 18 and 19 through here, Dan Hegarty, Martin Jessup, closely followed by 29, Jamie Coward. Jamie Coward does hold on to that 9th place, with Dan Hegarty making up the top 10 at the moment, pending the arrival of Horst Seiger. Lap 4 at Glen Helen, it's Ian Hutchinson leads. It's 12 seconds, but getting slightly smaller with each mile. And in third place, number 14, Dan Lean, 21 seconds back on Hickman. Back to you at the grandstand.
Manx Radio TT Race Commentary is brought to you by RL360. Quayside, we've got the tyres for you. For your free pothole and puncture warranty on tyres, choose the premium Japanese brand, Toyo Tyres. Available from the island's official Toyo Tyres Platinum partner, Quayside Tyres, South Quay, Douglas. Quayside, 664417. South Quay, Douglas, don't delay, have safer tyres today. Quayside.
Would owners of domestic animals and livestock adjoining the TT course please ensure that they are secure during the practice and race periods?
Manx Radio TT, powered by MediaTek Advertising. Manx Radio TT.
Dean Harrison's quickest on this lap, but we've got no more time to bring you any more. Straight to Ramsey Hairpin and Roy Moore.
83, I think, is the last to go through there. Forrest Dunn, but we're looking for Ian Hutchinson now, and certainly is tight to the inside from Stella Maris. And yeah, just a little bit gentle on the brakes there. Well, he'll be getting red hot at this time, and he has got through successfully. 2 back markers or 2 lower order riders, certainly on lap number 4 here at Ramsey Hairpin. Interesting to see the progress of Dean Harrison, and we're just speculating whether he could get past Michael Rutter. I think he pulled a 2.5 seconds on the run from Glen Helen to Ballaugh Bridge, so that will be interesting to see. But certainly the gap there at Ballaugh Bridge was an advantage for Ian Hutchinson over Peter Hickman of 12 seconds. 12 seconds the advantage there. Dan Neen 21 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but then a comfortable margin too. Currently in 4th place at Ballaugh, Michael Rutter, who was 13 seconds down on Dan Neen. Although we noticed going through here, the Optimark team of Fabrice Maguet and Julian Taniti, certainly they were circulating together, 61 and 64, and it seems ironic that this time last year Dan Neen was getting interviewed as they started practice with injury by the Granada Reports team in the little garden opposite the start line there at the grandstand, but now he's out and about and holding on to that 3rd place. Next machine interview, very, very quick indeed, but what else would you expect from Peter Hickman now, who has got ahead of Michael Dunlop on the road? So that's an indication, really, isn't it? Peter Hickman 16 seconds, so a further 4 seconds pulled out. Ian Hutchinson was quick here into Ramsey. Down through the box goes number 1, David Johnson on that machine, the BMW machine, which looks as though they can get the 2 laps out of them, and this is Dean Harrison, so that's going to be interesting when Michael Rutter appears, because 9 starting ahead of 11, so if he's going to make any inroads, he's got 20 seconds to get here, and certainly that will be the case. It's Michael Rutter, he's here, but the gap is down to 2 seconds here at Ramsey, I can tell you. Michael Rutter holding on to 3rd at the moment, but remember we've got number 14 Dan Neen to get through. Michael Rutter holds on to 3rd, he's 33 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but then it all goes to there's the one we're looking for, number 14 Dan Neen, very, very quick. He gets his right knee out and just puts a bit of sideways action on it, and to get it anchored up into Ramsey Hairpin, but he get a board out and he's holding on to 3rd, 19 seconds down on Peter Hickman, but 13.5 seconds ahead of Michael Rutter. But Michael Rutter can look down the road because he's starting at 11. Number 9 Dean Harrison is the man on the move. He's only 1.9 seconds down now to exact timing here at Ramsey on Michael Rutter. That puts Michael Dunlop, number 6, down into 6th place, but don't discount him either, because he's only 5.5 seconds down on Dean Harrison, completing the top 6. Going through, number 1, David Johnson, 1 minute we have to go up to there, but remember, William Dunlop, Jamie Coward, Dan Hegarty, Martin Jessup and Dan Stewart could all have something to say about the progress of David Johnson. He was holding on to 8th at Ballaugh Bridge on this particular lap from Jamie Coward, but 23 seconds was the difference that Coward had to make up. In 10th place it was then 19 Dan Hegarty, 16 seconds down on Coward. 11th number 18 Martin Jessup, 10 seconds down on Dan Hegarty. This is Ballaugh reminding. And then good progress there from number 43, Brian McCormick. He was up to 12th at Ballaugh, but 10 seconds down on Martin Jessup, who slotted in. So the next riders, the first 8 have gone through. This is the next machine interview. Down through the box, I think he's lost the transponder somewhere. No, it's still there. It puts him up into 7th place now. That is number 15, William Dunlop. 7th place for him here at Ramsey, but 55 seconds down on brother Michael here at Ramsey, relegating into 8th place number one, David Johnson. So when we were doing the fuel there with Dan Neen in the pits, I just reminded about the combination that used to be of Brian Moore, who was putting the fuel in, and Robert Dooley, who sadly left us a month ago or so, and they were involved in the pit team work for Stephen Oates, who's now back on travelling marshal duty. So we remember with affection Robert Dooley. So we've just got Ian Hutchinson by 16 seconds. I suppose the big thing will be, has he made the mountain climb? He certainly has. He's through the bungalow. Also through the bungalow, number 10, Peter Hickman. Also through the bungalow, number 6, Michael Dunlop. The gap is now 19 seconds, so certainly Ian Hutchinson is absolutely on it now on this last lap. It will be interesting to see what this flying last lap will be. So Peter Hickman still holding on to second. David Johnson is also through the bungalow, but no time. There's the same difference there. We're just looking on that of Dan Neen and the battle with Michael Rutter and Dean Harrison. That's the one that we got on. Dean Harrison has made the mountain climb. He will be heading up Halewood Heights now, up to the Brandywell, the left-hander. Let's just see if we can fit that in. There's number 19, 18. There's Martin Jessup, and the last of those is Jamie Coward that goes through there. It's the order at Ramsey for them is certainly, just looking at that, it's in 6th Michael Dunlop, 7th William Dunlop, 8th David Johnson, 9th Jamie Coward, 10th Dan Hegarty, and 11th Martin Jessup. Dan Neen still made the mountain climb. Rutter only 1 second ahead of Dean Harrison though at the bungalow. Back to the grandstand.
Ford, Ian Hutchinson at Cronknamona, and he had a lead over Peter Hickman of 19 seconds, and as Roy was saying, 1.2 the margin there between 5th and 4th. Number 9 Dean Harrison 1.2 behind, and number 11 Michael Rutter, who's in 4th. Pretty big gaps though elsewhere, but it's been all about one man and his machine. And we gather there was an error code at the start, and they turned it off and on, and away he went. So pretty good there. Control, Alt, Delete, everything's fine. Ian Hutchinson is about to come into view here. Checkered flag is prepared. Here he is, the Bingley Bullet. Sweet 16 for Ian Hutchinson. He is the most successful Superstock rider of all time at the TT. 5 in all now. He moves ahead of Bruce Anstey. It's the 3rd Superstock TT win in a row. He's now 1 behind Dave Molyneux with 16 TT victories. He's a comprehensive winner of the RL 360 Quantum Superstock race here on the Isle of Man. Congratulations to Ian Hutchinson. We'll obviously keep an eye on the Cronknamona. I can tell you Peter Hickman, number 10, is indicated there. The light on for him, and number 6, Michael Dunlop. Across the line goes Forrest Dunn there, number 83. Fastest lap of the race so far is Ian Hutchinson, 131.639. As there goes Frank Gallagher out onto here. So it's not, of course, a race record or a lap record, because that 133.098 is still the time to beat that he set on lap 1 a year ago. So we now wait for Peter Hickman and Michael Dunlop to come into view. And the light is on for number 9, Dean Harrison, as well at Cronknamona. But 2 bikes should come into view. First of them is Hickman. And there's Michael Dunlop. Hickman 130.3, Dunlop 129.3. So Ian Hutchinson wins it by 22.4 seconds. But of course, he's still got to wait for number 14, Dan Neen, to come into view. And Dan Neen is at Cronknamona. And Dean Harrison 131.04 there for Dean. Also across the line, David Johnson. Michael Rutter, number 11, is about to come into view, but we'll let you know who's in second. Down to you, Chris.
Oh dear. That's a destroyed rear Dunlop tyre anyway. Blimey, blimey, blimey. What a sight down here. A massive cheer we got when he come in. Peter Hickman's there as well. We'll get Dan Neen confirmed in a minute, Tim, with my headphones, with that third place. He's got 20 seconds. There's Hickey.
Dan Neen is third, Chris.
Well done, Dan Neen. Absolutely brilliant. And his first podium at the TT for Dan Neen. He will be mega pleased with that. One more. Yep, Dan Neen is on his way, but let's get round the back